Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I have a really fun, colorful Christmas card to share with you. This card is featuring the Nutcracker stamp set by Mama Elephant, which is really adorable. They released this stamp set while I was in like this period where I didn't craft and didn't purchase anything. But while lately I think it has been a month and I cracked on some older stamp sets, but older, just a few months in. So this one is one of them. There is also another one, I don't recall the name exactly, but it's with a ton of gifts by Mama Elephant. And then for Christmas I got the little Mama Elephant critters as well, so I'm hoping to share things with them soon. I also got some new my favorite things stamps. One particular one had well, it was just a difficult thing to get my hands on. It went via someone that I know from online. I looked for the stamp set and the dies, and I either had the option to buy the dies or the stamp, but never the two of them. And because I want both stamps and dies whenever I have clear stamps, I just had to have the set immediately, or I was afraid to buy it that I wouldn't get the other thing that I was still missing. So in the end, it came via Switzerland, I think, if I recall correctly, and it's still on my desk, ready to play with. It's with the, again, the name is vague, but there are snowmen on it, and well, it's one of my favorite things, and it's illustrated by the illustrator also that was from Clearly Besotted. Well, you know the idea. I think you know which stamp set I'm talking about, but I'm hoping to share something with it soon. I haven't had time to craft with it, and it is a winter stamp. So if I don't get to play with it and share it with before 1st of January, I'm hoping to do it in January itself or February, and then maybe I will be ahead on Christmas cards. I must admit that this year, with the baby and all, I didn't make enough Christmas cards at all. Normally, also my parents come by me to, and they ask me which cards I have left so that they can send some cards that I created, which is really sweet. But this year, I just didn't have enough. My brother came and he took some cards with him, but truly, I didn't make a ton of cards, let alone Christmas cards. So each year, I'm like trying to have more, and I think that each year I have less Christmas cards than the year before, and even the year before wasn't enough. So it's a bit of a difficult thing apparently. And now also I'm just crafting when the baby is sleeping. Well, she already has like 8 months. So, well, but she doesn't like to sleep during the day, and in the evening, when she's already in bed for like her night sleep, I'm just too tired to start crafting. So I don't know how 2025 will be, but I'm hoping to have each time a bit more crafty time, and who knows, maybe she will start creating cards with me at one point, but that will be years from now. Um, but yeah. So this card with the Nutcracker, I decided to try some really vibrant colors, but since I had all of these images that I wanted to color, I wanted to do something rainbow. I will not adhere the things rainbow order, but I really wanted to have a festive card. I love these Nutcrackers. They are really adorable. If I would find some like this in like the stores, I would definitely want to buy it. um, Also, the king mouse here is just too adorable, and I really, each time that I see a card passing by from this stamp set, I need to think about the movie. And actually, after this voiceover, I will probably watch that movie again, because I have seen it times and times again, that it's now on Netflix, I think. And so we have two options here. We have Netflix and we have Disney Plus, and depending on which it is, well, it's just really handy. So here it is some purple. So this card, in the end, it will still be clean and simple, but definitely with tons of Copic markers used. For all of the color combinations, you can always find them on my blog post. The blog post was already shared the moment that I published the card on Instagram. This video was a bit late, and there will be another video coming, and another one for some cards that I couldn't do the voiceover since I was sick. Well, I'm still a bit sick. You probably can still hear it, but I didn't have a voice for a few days. And then I had like this really rough voice, and I thought, well, that is not the kind of voice that I want to use on my YouTube channel. So I had to postpone the voiceovers a bit. So here for this blue, it's actually a new combination. Well, new as in I have already used the BG23 and BG11 together in another combination, but I never used BG72 with it. But I wanted to have this really lovely blue, but at the same time a bit more muted than just bright in your face blue, to go with all of the rest, and that's why I added the BG72. And I think it kind of worked out. It's still vibrant enough to go with all of the other colors that I used, but the darkest color is definitely a bit soft and just gentle. Also, the colorless blender, again, lifesaver. All of these details, you can definitely try to avoid it, but it's not always that easy when you're trying to get a blend to not, well, to have to avoid certain things. The hair, facial hair from these Nutcrackers, I each time wanted to do something different. So you will also see that on the combinations there is like hair number 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, there's also the hair of the fairy. But it can be really simple if you just want to have a tiny bit of a shade. You take one of your lightest markers that you have and do that. Also here on the green combinations, the same thing as with the blue combination. I already used the yellow, green 03 and 00 because those are really lovely colors. But just to mute it a bit out and have it a bit softer, concerning the darkest one, I used the yellow green 95, which is which is a color that I already used with other combinations, but not with these two vibrant greens. But I'm really glad how it turned out. So it's really simple, but I think the card turned out really, really fun. So some areas, also the details, sometimes it's just too small to really add shadowing, so I didn't bother about trying to have multiple colors there. I'm also going to add white jelly roll pen details. You probably saw it in the beginning or on social media already. But I'm trying to add more, and if I'm coloring like this, well, soft way, you can try to color realistic, but some images just are too cute and they work perfectly however you color them. Like these images, I decided to try the white jelly roll pen details again, and I'm really glad with how it turned out. Again, it's something that I'm getting used to, and I'm using it more and more. But it also takes some time. It always amazes me how long I'm taking about all of the white jelly roll pen details. But it's fun. I'm really glad with them. So let's take the dies here. And I have some purple tape to adhere all of them. Just making sure that I'm using the right ones. And then I did a tiny bit of a layout here. I want to use a sentiment that is in this stamp set, which is wishing you a holiday season full of wonder, joy, and a touch of magic. So I made sure that the positioning was working, and then I could stamp out the sentiment, just making sure that I'm not stamping on my images. But I also wanted to keep a bit of the layout. It was smarter if I would have used like press and seal first, take off all of the images and so on, but didn't do that. Now for the background, I'm just going to really softly ink blend a tiny bit of distress ink. I'm going to cover up the edges of this panel, which is something that I like to do. You have these stitching details, and I really love this lovely thin white border right beside it. So I'm using my purple tape here to cover up those stitching details, and then I will take my cracked pistachio distress ink, just ink blended soft background, and I will also take a stencil later on, as I already showed just a bit earlier. So here I just want the top half to have a bit of that blue, not too much either, and I'm just blending it out into the white area. Now the stencil that I'm using is a Starry Sky by Fawn. It's a really great one for festive occasions, but also night skies that you might do. So I'm just making sure that I'm adhering that as well, so that it stays in place. I'm going to try to cover up the sentiment a bit also to preserve it. With the glitter, it came loose a tiny bit, but it isn't really shocking. And also it is not bothering me because it's glitter paste that I'm going to use, so you can still see through it, even though it is on some areas of the sentiment. So I'm using the Moonstone NUVO Glimmer paste, and I'm just spreading it out. I'm not going all the way to the bottom because, well, there is some grounding, it's the white area, and I don't want the critters to stand on top of stars. I want the stars to be in the sky, in the area around them. So I'm trying to evenly spread it with this scalpel. It's a really old paste already, but it's still working. You just need to close it really well, but it's different from when you buy a new one or you open a new one and it's really moist and everything. This one also dried really quickly because of the amount of time that it's already being used in my craft room. So I am going to remove everything. I'm also removing the tape from the stencil. Really important here is to rinse your stencil very quickly. I would suggest immediately, or put it in a water bath so that it cannot dry, because it's really hard to remove any dry paste on top of your stencils. Now I'm covering the backs of some of the critters here and images with some thin foam squares. Others I will adhere flat on top of my card using some liquid glue, or even just an adhesive roller can work for that. And then we will add the panel to a card base. So far I haven't done the white jelly roll pen details, and I just figured it out while adhering this one. So I will do it on all of the other ones before adhering them, to make sure that I have enough wiggle room to do so. So I'm adding it all over. I'm adding some lines, I'm adding some dots, a combination of lines and dots. Anything works, really. Just have fun with adding the white jelly roll pen details. It takes a ton of time, so just take your time for it. Me, on the other hand, because this is a video and I don't want to annoy you with each time the same thing, I just skipped a bit through the white jelly roll pen details. I added it all over, and I'm going to continue with adhering everything. So first I'm making sure that there is enough space that you will see everything as I want. There can be a slight overlap, but I love these images so much. I don't want anything to be covered, to be honest. So I'm limiting the amount of overlap in images, but I want them to be one group of images together. So here I'm just first removing the backings. This way I can keep my acrylic block as long as possible on top of these images. Adding the mouse, adding the final Nutcracker, and then this lovely fairy. So I'm now going to adhere this panel on my card base, and then it's done. You can always add glossy accents, more glitter if you want to, anything like that, but I think this card has enough details as is. So this is my card for today. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and of course that you like the end result. For all combinations, you can check out my blog post, and the description box down below describes all of the elements that I used. Thank you so much for being here. I wish you all an incredible day, a lovely Merry Christmas, and I'll be back soon with some new craft inspiration. Bye!